your parents' choice.
Right.
Okay.
So it was a boarding school. So when I came to America, also I was on campus, University of Houston. So it was still a campus life.
But let me ask you, I mean, you weren't just an ordinary student there, you were like a star there.
A sports star.
A sports star there. How did you handle that? You know, I mean, did your Islamic background and your training from your parents help you to better handle that?
Well, you know, it's an Islamic school.
Right.
So for us, we enjoyed that victory because our school very tough in sports. So we are famous for team handball and field hockey and soccer.
Right.
So the principle stressing the manners that we should conduct our activities outside to show the character of Islam. So even not just from the home, also the school give us that base.
Right. So you were always conscious in your public career that you were also a representative of Islam.
Yes, I mean that's from the school, from the beginning, from home, from the school, but there's no really a clear understanding in the details of your responsibility to take it as now you're taking responsibility, how to go about things, how to behave, how to study. What is this?
So what point did you really feel like you really started to seriously study Islam?
This when I came to America, not in college, in the pros. This was about 3 years in the pros. Then, you know, you start missing the environment, you know, that I left back home. You know, the adhan, you know, going to the mosque. Because when I first came, you know, in college, I was kind of nervous because there was confusion about being a Muslim, you're automatically connected to Nation of Islam. So then I stepped back just to evaluate the situation much more in college. You know, that's why I didn't want to associate myself, you know, I didn't really go into the detail to try to find out, to get into what's already established in America. I like to understand much more before I step out there.
And the people, I mean, people obviously knew you were Muslim. Did they approach you and actually want to ask you questions about Islam and Muslims?
Not really when I first came, because I had the name, but at the same time, I don't think they connect.
Okay.
Maybe if a Muslim hear my name, he knows he's a Muslim, but never really confirm, because you can be a Muslim by name, you know, not by practice.
Okay.
So never really. It was only one time we practiced at a summit. This is where we practice. We play our games. Summit.
Yes.
There was a gentleman that came to me, you know, your name, Abdulhakim. I said yes. You're Muslim? I said yes. And then he asked me, you know, do you know we have a mosque 5 minutes from here? I said no, and I've been practicing there for 3 years. He said no. They gave me the address. So she said, inshallah, we'll see you, you know, come for Juma.
You were happy to meet that man?
I was, you know, first of all, I was skeptical. What kind of mosque?
Yeah.
You know, so this was been my fear all along. So I was not really, but I was happy to take information. So ask him, what time is the Juma time? You know, give me the. So that day I was looking forward to practice. I was happy, you know, I went to practice 11 o'clock, 1 hour, 12 o'clock, we finished practice. So I went 5 minutes, it was right. It was right there. I said, wow, this has been there all this time, I didn't really know.
Right.
Then I saw different nationalities coming in, and so I was very comfortable from there. Then when they made the adhan, and just the chill that, you know, came, all these memories, you came back to say, well, you know, what I've been missing all these years.
Right.
Then Sheikh Rashad, he saw me, but they know me from basketball, but they never see me at the mosque. So he sent 2 brothers, you know, to any assistance I need, you know, to help me.
Right.
So they gave me books. I spent about 4 hours after Juma just talking to the brothers. You know, I was so happy just to be there.
Right.
And I went home after Maghrib.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. So from that, I started the book that they gave me. I started to, I started reading. Then started to practice the short surahs. How to follow. And then I couldn't read from Arabic letters. Then I have to start.
Right.
So all this journey become it's beautiful. It was just. They started finding out. I started to to know more about the halal, haram. Okay, you can't wear silk. Okay, I went to my closet, then take all my silk. Okay, I used to design like a jewelry. I didn't know the difference. They said, "Wow, I have to give up my gold." Okay, I have to. So I started this process.
But mashallah, but as soon as you found out about those things, immediately you just implemented.
But I was. First of all, what does this have to do with this? Then that's when it started happening, the appreciation for Islam, how detailed. Because it started dealing with every issues. Then I have to conform myself, comply, Start going, the more I dig into it, the more
Right.
So mashallah.
Mashallah. And so, in your career, how long, talk about your NBA career. How long were you in the NBA, and what was unique about your style of play?
Well, I played in the NBA for 18 years. I would say the uniqueness about my game is my background. I was a soccer player, a team handball. So when I started playing basketball, I have to translate really the moves from the soccer, from team handball, very similar. The fakes, the dynamic movement from all these sports, from soccer, footwork, bring it to basketball, and make it legal.
Right.
Because the summertime I have to explain to the referees, you call travel. You have to go back and explain to him. You just travel, you show him slow motion, step by step. You say, if you do that, that's not travel. That's what I did. Watch it next time. You repeat it again next time, you won't call it. So I have to establish this where some of the referees are they're not used to see a big man that move with that kind of footwork. So I think most of my people, what they recognize most about my uniqueness is the footwork, which come from soccer.
And did you come across any other centers who had your style or close to it?
A lot,
or did you introduce something that people tried to incorporate in their game?
The style, most of the centers cannot play my style. Right. It's more of a small forward, or between small forward and a quick power forward. Because you have to be very agile because of the footwork. Right. The center, they have the size and the strength and the height, But I have to make up from the fakes and the spins and the quickness, which are not really. The first time you play against a new opponent, you have to give him a whole series of moves that he has to go through, that he will experience for the first time.
Yes.
So you can see something on the film, and you prepare for it. But real life is different.
Right.
The reflexes and the quickness and the timing. So the confidence level, knowing if I'm playing against a new guy for the first time, and he's trying to anticipate my moves, then every time it gets wrong because you're giving something else and so many options. And that's what I love about my style, because I know they try to read me, and then you're always one step ahead.
Right.
So when when you think you're going here, you go over here. So you misdirect the players completely.
Right, mashallah. But let me ask you, now you said after about 3 years in the pros, you started to reconnect, with Islam. And the players around you, did they kind of notice that you were becoming more serious about Islam? And did people, approach you? And how did they respect your beliefs, as a